You know, Larry, normally I say they're not booing. They might be booing tonight. They're booing and they're Kruging. I got Larry Krueger joining me for Golden Days, the Krug Show. It's a dual stream. My face shows happiness only because I'm with my friend Larry here. I haven't seen or talked to you since the New Year. The Warriors, Happy New Year to you too, brother. The Warriors, that's a whole other issue. That's a reality check. There's nothing positive going on there except for Stephen Curry's greatness. Let's break it down. The Warriors get thumped. They're booing. They're Kruging. It's the Krug Show. It's the Golden Days. Here we go.
That is it for us today, and we will leave you with I can't do it. No. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Do it live. And things suck. Woo!
Let's go. In a minute, I'ma need a sentimental man or woman to pump me up. Come on and break me off. 'Cause I get what I want and I like what I see. If you
Oh, the chat's on fire. Some Cam Whitmore name dropping. Oh, Dub Nation's pissed. Larry, who is paying your bills? People can follow you on all social media platforms at Sports Larry K. Who are the folks sustaining the greatness that is the Krug Show?
Well, thank you, Cyrus. Good to be here. Happy January 7th to everybody. Happy 2025. All right, enough with the pleasantries. Now, Pig in a Pickle, the Pig in a Pickle, the best barbecue in all of Northern California. Check them out. They're in Emeryville. They're in Corte Madera. They're open 7 days a week from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. They don't run out. No, they do run out. So you got to get there early, and you got to make sure you get some brisket.
How dare you mislead everyone? That's so messed up, man. I was about to be happy that it can get that delicious brisket that probably melts off the fork. You don't even need a knife. I was gonna roll in there at 6:30, and then now you bust my bubble, dude. So you have to get there early because it's damn good.
It's real barbecue. So when they run out, they run out. It's not like you're gonna snap your fingers and smoke all these ribs and everything. But it's it's really, really good. And you're gonna love it. Pig in a Pickle, high quality food. Damon and Mary. What's the key to having a great restaurant? You have great food and you really, really work hard. That's a hard working business. And I admire them. And they run a great business, and they've got an incredible restaurant. And I'll be there. We're going to pick a time during the NFL playoffs one of these weekends, and we're going to go do a meet and greet from Pig in a Pickle out in Corte Madera again. So that was a lot of fun.
Is Damon Bruce also having an event at the exact same day and time that conflicts with your? I'm kidding.
Not yet, but give it time. Give it time. And then thanks, of course, to Mancini's Sleep World, proud sponsor of the Krug Show.
Yes.
If you go to a Mancini's or if you go to sleepworld.com, just use the code KRUG10, KRUG10, KRUEG 10, and you'll get 10% off your mattress purchase. So if you know me, you're set. So there you go. Thanks to Mancini's. And thanks to also Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles. One of our sponsors. They are a fantastic sports card and collectible location in Pacific Grove, down along the Monterey Peninsula. My good friend Anthony Catania is there. Sharp Corners Sports Cards and Collectibles.
That's awesome,
I don't have their
man.
number in front of me, but Anthony's a great guy, big Niner fan, big fan of the channel. And then, of course, we're brought to you by BetUS. We're brought to you by Better, BETR. And we've got some new sponsors starting here in 2025. So we'll have them.
Same with Golden Days. We actually have a new sponsor coming next Monday, January 13th. My dad's birthday. Happy birthday, Dad. Rick Barry's going to be a weekly guest. He's going to have his own show on the Golden Days channel. But real fast, Larry, Krug10, that promo code, very important because the 10% discount on a mattress is serious cash, dude. So Krug10 for Mancini's.
And you can go to sleepworld.com or any Mancini's location. Of course, it's a Northern California deal. So if you're listening to this in Texas, you probably can't benefit. But if you're a fan of the show, you can go to sleepworld.com and probably order through the website.
Beautiful, beautiful. And Golden Days is brought to you by a couple sponsors. First and foremost, Vitamin Energy. Go healthy with your energy boosters. And if you go to vitaminenergy.com and apply the promo code Golden Days. Days spelled like dazed and confused. You'll get 20% off your purchase for an energy drink that's actually healthy for you. Clearly, the Golden State Warriors have not been taking their vitamin energy because they look lackluster. They look discombobulated out there. The energy is lacking. They need vitamin energy. Go to vitaminenergy.com and again, use the promo code Golden Days for 20% off your order. And this show is also brought to you by Bet Online, who continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting in 2025. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, Bet Online is your ultimate game day companion. And if you bet on the Warriors, I'm sorry, they were favored by 7 in this game. That they didn't even come close. But regardless, go to Bet Online. The game starts here. Larry, the Warriors made this close. It looked like they might make this a game for a brief moment there, and then the Miami Heat remembered, oh yeah, you're the Warriors. All you have on your team is Stephen Curry. We're going to take care of business, and they did. 114-96. This was depressing. It's another day where the Warriors have not taken any action on a roster that's lackluster, that's lacking in all sorts of departments. This is a weak roster, Larry. This is a weak team as currently constructed. What was your reaction to tonight? And I know we're going to get into the bigger picture here, but what'd you see tonight that was any good, all bad? Your thoughts?
It's funny. Warriors World tweeted out tonight, would be a good time for Joe Lacob to do a radio interview and take calls. Yeah.
Well, Twitter's been on this Lacob tip more than usual. I'm noticing a lot of vitriol lately directed towards him. What do you think about that, man? Is that justified to you?
Well, he just, when you talk a big game, and he talks a big game, and we're, the Joey Light years thing, and, we're way ahead of everybody, and he just was feeling himself when he inherited the key factor in the whole thing. I mean, it's like, it's like the same reason that people don't give Jerry Krause that much credit for the whole Bulls run, because Rod Thorne is the guy who drafted Michael Jordan. So, I mean, that was kind of like every time Krause wanted to take credit, people were like, well, Jordan was there. You had Jordan to start with, and he was the best. And it's
right.
Like, Joe had Steph to start with, and there's really no finer person, and very few. He's an all-time great, and incredible things spiraled from that. And I think somewhere along the way, some of these guys thought it was them. I don't, not anybody specific, but any number of people associated with the Warriors, who, I mean, you were in a good situation. But Jerry West put you there, Don Nelson put you there. Larry Riley put you there. Bob Myers put you there. It's like, let's be respectful of the fact that you had a lot of money and bought, you're a self-made billionaire. That, that right there, I have nothing but an enormous respect for that. And I've talked to Joe before, but I mean, he's not James Naismith, He didn't invent the game,
Right.
And, I'm glad that he's so enthusiastic and everything, but I mean, it's like he's talked a big game. And it was, I think he got lucky, to be completely honest. And it's like you look at some of the picks that him and his sons, I mean, Alan Smiley-Geach and Jacob Evans, and, some of these picks, Patrick McCaw, Jordan Bell. Oof. I mean, they haven't necessarily lit the thing ablaze. It's like they wanted Jerry. They brought in Jerry because they wanted Jerry as like a human shield against criticism. Mm-hmm. And he provided that for them. When they had no credibility, he gave them credibility. And then they forgot that it's like, he was the guy who said, don't trade Klay Thompson for Kevin Love. That was a big part of the Warriors winning championships.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, Bob Myers did provide some context for that specific trade. He said that it wasn't just Jerry West. It was a team decision. But I hear what you're saying, man. I hear what you're saying.
But somebody's got to have the conviction to pull the trigger. And when push comes to shove and the clock's rolling down, you got to pick somebody.
Yeah.
And Jerry West has a history of success. They don't really have a history of success. And, we'll see. I mean, I liked what they did last year in the draft. We're all kind of waiting on what move is coming here. I mean, this whole season is hinging on what's next because it's like right now, I mean, to me, I mean, I don't watch it as close as you do, right? I will defer to you. But like in a game like tonight, Golden State, when they don't shoot the three, it's a make or miss league, but they have nights when they shoot the three ball well, they win. Tonight they were, they were 28% from three, 28%, 14 of 50. So that when they, if you look at the common denominator in their wins and losses, it's, their production at the 3-point line. And then they didn't get to the free throw line at all. I mean, the Heat got to the free throw line 17 times. The Warriors got there 5 times. And that's a huge disparity right there. Golden State won on the glass. The assists were relatively equal. Golden State had 9 steals and 6 blocks. The turnovers were equal. The fast break points were pretty equal. Points in the paint, Golden State 46, 42, 44. So you look at that, but the Heat built a 20-point lead in this thing, and they just played last night against Sacramento in a game that went to overtime that I watched. That was a hell of a game, and I thought, Golden State would get a Heat team that was probably dragging tonight, not have anything. Instead, Nikola Jovic, had 20 off the bench. He looked really good.
Mm-hmm. Yes, he did. I feel like the whole Heat team, I'm not muted. Okay, good. The whole Heat team looked way better than I think they should have, largely because that's what every team does when they play the Warriors. Look, you're absolutely right. Every number you mentioned, the 3-point shooting, all very valid. And the Warriors tonight, again, they shot just 14 of 50 from beyond the arc, 28%. That is not going to cut it. And in just a moment, I'm going to read to you the numbers of the Warriors players not named Stephen Curry, because when you take his production out, it looks way worse than what we've already talked about, because Steph was 8 of 17 from beyond the arc. This is, Larry, I feel like this is just a bad team. Like I saw a report, for example, that said Gary Payton II and Brandon Pajemski, they're going to join the team on this upcoming 4-game road trip. Yay! Like, that's going to magically solve one of the worst, if not the worst, offense in the NBA. Neither of those two players score points. So I don't know what that's going to magically do. But do you want to hear from Steve Kerr? Because Anthony Slater already posted sound from the post game, and I can imagine that Steve Kerr is not very happy. I hope he's not. So why don't we hear from Steve Kerr? This is Steve Kerr following tonight's Warriors Heat loss. The third loss in a row, if my math is correct, for the Warriors, a reeling Warriors team that has fallen back to 500. Here is Steve Kerr talking about tonight's game.
We like the group. We like the people we have.
Whoops, wrong clip. I did that intentionally, by the way, just to show you that Steve Kerr incredibly likes this team.
He likes that group, and he likes the group they have.
Unbelievable, man. All right, so here's the right. Oh shoot, hold on. Let me do this again. So here's the right clip. I just had to throw that in there. I did that on purpose. Here is Steve Kerr. This is courtesy of Anthony Slater, which does mean that the sound might be weak. Turn the volume up on your device to hear this properly. Here is Steve Kerr after tonight's loss.
Yeah, I mean, I expected better energy. I think we're suffering from a crisis of confidence right now, frankly. You can see it, you can feel it. I don't mind missed shots, but I mind when missed shots affect the defense and the attitude, and we feel deflated right now, and there's no room for feeling sorry for ourselves in the NBA, in life in general, right? We can't let disappointment dictate our approach to the game. We have to do the opposite. We have to bring more fire. We have to outcompete our opponents when things aren't going our way. And that was what was most disappointing tonight. Was I just felt like everybody was down, and we didn't have a competitive spirit. And if you don't have that, you've got nothing. And so we've got to find a way to build that back up.
Steph in particular you mentioned the word deflated. He seemed deflated. I mean, obviously he's not unconfident offensively, but it does kind of seem to feel like this slump, the team slump is weighing on him. I mean, are you seeing that?
Yeah, I can see it. I can see it with Steph, and he's continued to be brilliant night after night. But at his core, he's a winner. He's a champion. He wants to compete at the highest level. We just saw it a few months ago in Paris. The best of the best, and he takes over the fourth quarter when everything's on the line. That's who he is. That's what he lives for. And so he is really struggling with the emotion of not being competitive right now. He probably hasn't had to deal with this since his his first couple of years in the league. So he's definitely struggling with it.
Steve, what do you think specifically their zone?
All right, and there you go. And these speeches are getting old, Larry. What's your reaction to that? Because I'm tired of the excuses. I think they've got bigger issues than just showing up with energy. Your thoughts, Larry?
Well, I mean, Steph is a point guard. He had no assists in 33 minutes.
Because he has no teammates who can score. I
That's
think
what I'm
that's a
saying.
huge
It's
part of
like-
the problem, right?
I mean, either he's not passing or nobody he's passing to is making a shot, or he doesn't have anybody to pass to.
Exactly.
Once again, Wiggins, 25 minutes, 9 points, not a whole lot. Schroeder and Wiggins together shot 6 of 20.
No, the
That's
Schroeder
not
experiment's been just a total bust, man. And
Schroeder
again,
is not fit in. You
I didn't
can
take
have Schroeder.
joy
He's a
in
good
ripping
player,
the
he's just not
move
a good
when it
player.
happened, but it's just it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know that height matters in basketball. And if you think making a trade for a 6'1" guard who was having a career high in scoring with 18 points a game while playing 36 minutes a night for a Nets team in the Eastern Conference, dude, look, it doesn't take a lot of brain and intellect to realize they needed a lot more than that. I'm sorry to cut you off, man. I just
Well, no, I mean, and I think the plan is to continue to make more trades. I mean, it
Yeah.
sounded like the advantage of when they traded for Schroeder was that they will be able to include him at the deadline in another trade if they find a bigger trade or a better trade, or if he didn't fit. And as you said, or as we've both said here,
yeah.
the fit doesn't work. Now, here's the question, though. The idea was Steph's got to play off the ball a little bit more to try to preserve him, I think.
Yes,
And
that,
so
yes, that is the plan. Correct.
So I mean, and Schroeder's an on-the-ball player, but that right there is a change. Having anybody but Steph playing on the ball, that just seems kind of like to be more of the problem. I also kind of feel like if they had a bigger player playing opposite Steph, I think that could help their situation a little bit, balance them out a little bit. Having the small guards, I don't know. I mean, and then once again, off the bench. I mean, Lindy Waters. He didn't really have much of an NBA career coming into this year, and now
Correct.
we're kind of seeing why. He's not. He's a great 3-point shooter who doesn't always shoot great 3-point shots.
Yeah.
It's like he shot 4 of them tonight, missed all 4. I'm not a big slow-mo fan. Heald comes and goes. He was 2 for 9 from beyond the arc tonight. Moses
Goes
Moody,
a lot more than comes, Larry. I know that
Moses
sounds
Moody
perverted,
totally.
but
You could move. I mean, like as far as I'm concerned, I don't see. When I look at this team, I see Steph, Green, Trace Jackson Davis, and everybody else you could just move.
yeah, this is a
You can
bad
move all
spot.
those- you
And
can move-
just
they can move anybody at this point. I mean, they should consider massive. They should consider some big trades that move lots of players around, because it's not like they're just mixes a little bit this or a little bit that. This is not. I mean, they don't have enough near enough here. They badly need, because trades are speculative, right? You're speculating on the players that you've got coming back. You're speculating on how the players that you're going to trade are going to do. They're speculating. It's a big, gigantic. So there's an opportunity to if you make the right kinds of moves and the right kinds of trades to really build your basketball team nicely, but you got to find the right deals. And I'm just looking at them right now going, okay, you're not moving Green because he's just a lifer. You're not, I don't think you're moving Curry. I mean, I guess that's the first question. Are you moving Curry?
No, I don't think. Damon Bruce and I, we were having this discussion last week, Larry, and because he's starting to mention that, like that was the approach he was taking on the program was, maybe it's time to trade Steph, and I asked Damon, who grew up a Bulls fan, like if as a Bulls fan in the '90s, the late '90s, if Jordan decided not to retire, if they did not have that last dance after the '98 season, and they just kept it going until the wheels fell off, like the Warriors are doing here, like, would you be okay trading Jordan? And he was like, hell no. And that's, I feel like that's the same kind of mentality here with Steph in the Bay Area. It's like he brought up Joe Montana, which is a valid point, but then again, the Niners had Steve Young waiting in the wings, right? You don't really have that here in terms of Steph's, in terms of a successor to Steph in the dynasty. So I guess the other thing is like, are you throwing the white towel, Larry? I guess that's a pertinent question here. Like, is it over, man? Is this season done? You predicted 38 wins. You're looking good on that prediction, dude. People were totally hating on you for that. You're definitely, you have every right to stand on that hill and shout down at those people who are like criticizing you. Is it cooked? Are they cooked? Is it over? Is there any hope left, Larry, in your eyes?
Well, it's, I hate to be the doom and gloom guy, but I mean, the reality, it's all good things come to an end.
True.
Steph Curry's had a steep decline this year. It's because the expectation is that he's going to keep going at the level that he was at in the past, and he's at an age where he's crested the hill and he's, going down the other side. So he's not the same player that he was. So, I mean, that's just a big part of it. And it's like, that just means he's a human, Mm-hmm. He's not on some kind of weird performance enhancing drug situation. With some double prime, and he's awesome until he's 60 or something. He's an incredible player, but they're done winning titles. I mean, it's okay. It's okay. Now the question is, they're done winning titles with those guys as like the best guys on the team, but you still have the ability to, the draft is very speculative. Trades, we've seen the best GMs in basketball continue to build. The whole thing is, the problem is the Warriors have a problem. They have all the money in the world. They have one of the most coveted stadium, arenas in the entire league. They're in a great spot, except for one thing, and that is they can't get Sam Presti to leave OKC to come to the West Coast because they want to be the GM.
Right.
Because right. Joe wants to be the GM. He doesn't want Sam Presti because he wants himself to do it.
Right.
And when you want yourself to do it over the best GM, when you have the money to get the best GM, you know what I mean? That's a little Jerry Jones-ish. And now if it works, great. But right now it's like they seem like, if you tell me where are the Warriors right now, I'd say, well, Kuminga's hurt, but they also seem like they have no idea what they want to do with him. All they know is that they don't want to trade him and they don't want to sign him. They don't want to trade him away because he might get really good, but they don't want to give him the money because of all the flaws in his game.
You're talking about Kuminga, right?
Kuminga. It's like they don't want to pay him Franz Wagner money, even though
he's going to get the money now. You would agree with that, correct? I mean, given the way he's played the last month and the fact, look how not average. That's putting a positive spin on this. They look awful, mediocre, irrelevant without him. I mean, this is a horrible team without Kuminga. This is a possible playoff team with him. I think he's going to get paid.
He's a really good player. Yeah. I mean, I loved when they got him. I mean, I thought it was an incredibly stroke of luck that a guy that, if you check the mock drafts the year he came out, in the early months, he was projected as the number 1 pick in the draft.
Correct. You're absolutely correct.
For a long time there. So, he's a huge talent. And if they ever trade him away for just Nothing. They're fools. This guy is getting better at a crazy rate. There are people in the Warriors media that seem like they're really rooting for this guy to be traded. And I to me, it's like, do whatever you got to do to improve the team without trading him. That's all I would say. I would say keep him and Draymond and Steph and Trace Jackson Davis, and then build from there. Build with that. Got a couple old guys, you got a couple young guys, and the rest of it is a blank canvas. Pajemski, any of these guys, Wiggins, whatever deals you can make, see what deals you can make. I mean, and also I would think younger. I would think more about, pieces, or at least pieces that, you think that can be with you beyond this year. Like even Vucevic is, there's a lot of talk about Vucevic to the Warriors, and I think that makes a lot of sense.
It makes a ton of sense. And I'm going to read a report
he's got this year and next year.
Correct. And I'm going to read a report in just a moment from Mark Spears, who was on ESPN's NBA Today earlier this afternoon, talking about the Warriors and who they're going after. Folks may or may not like what they hear when I read that attribution. Before I get to that, though, I want to real quickly give a shout out to Stephen Curry, who is our Vitamin Energy Player of the Game. Not just Vitamin Energy. Larry, what sponsor of yours do you want to attach with our Player of the Game tonight? Anyone special that deserves an extra mention right now?
How about the Pig in a Pickle, Player of the Game?
I love it. So the Pig in the Pickle and Vitamin Energy Player of the Game. Go to Pig in a Pickle for the most delicious brisket. I think this is a safe a statement to make. The best brisket in the entire San Francisco Bay Area. Go to Pig in the Pickle. Correct? Is that fair to say?
It's outstanding.
There you go.
They smoke it for like 14 hours. It's amazing.
There you go. And then afterwards, when you're starting to get into that meat coma and you got the meat sweats, take a shot of Vitamin Energy and go to vitaminenergy.com for 20% off your order. Our Player of the Game tonight, obviously Stephen Curry. And his stat line, look, this is why I don't want to give up on helping him. This is why I'm not ready to wave the white flag, because the dude can still play. And he did look discouraged. There were numerous clips. I posted it on my social media accounts, whether it's on Threads and Instagram at Dog Wild or Twitter at Surf Journalist. I posted the clips where Stephen Curry was shown during tonight's TV broadcast in multiple moments, like punching the chair, head down. And when you see the numbers and then you see his teammates' numbers, you may understand why. Stephen Curry, our Pick in a Pickle, our Vitamin Energy Player of the Game tonight. Stephen Curry, 31 points. He shot 50% from the field, 11 of 22 from the field, almost 50% from three. He was 8 of 17 from beyond the arc, added 7 rebounds. Like you said, Larry, no assists. And when you hear the rest of the numbers, you may understand why. Because while Stephen Curry was pouring in, again, 31 points, had two blocks in this game, had a steal, 7 boards, 8 of 17 from beyond the arc, the rest of his team combined, Larry, shot 29 of 76. That's 38.1% from the field. That's no good. And then the rest of the team, whereas Steph shot 8 of 17, the rest of the team shot 6 for 33 from beyond the arc. That's 18.2%. And the primary culprits of this, your criminals here in terms of a horrible three-point shooting: Draymond Green, 0 of 3. Dennis Schroeder, 1 of 7. Buddy Hield, 2 of 9. Moses Moody, who's been shooting over 40% on the year from beyond the arc, he was just 1 of 4. And I'd love to talk to you about him as well, because his minutes are unexplainable, nonsensical as well. Lindy Waters III, you mentioned this before, I'll bring it up again. 0 of 4 for someone who you're relying almost entirely, exclusively on his three-point shooting. He goes 0 of 4. So Stephen Curry has no help on this team. And which I think explains the 0 assist number. He was just trying to do everything himself. And this is who's out there in terms of trades. And this was the Mark Spears report. And again, I don't have the recording of this. Anything to add to that, Larry, real fast before I read Mark's report?
No, go right ahead. That was very well summed up.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. So here's the Mark Spears report. I'll read the whole thing verbatim, but I have it on screen as well, the text of it. Here was Mark Spears, and he said this earlier today on ESPN's NBA Today. Quote, "They're trying to get a big guy to go alongside Draymond Green. People on that list include Nikola Vucevic, who's probably been the top guy on that list. He can shoot threes. He can play the inside. He makes $20 million as opposed to the $48 million Jimmy Butler makes. Keep an eye on some guys like Walker Kessler and John Collins of the Jazz, also Jonas Valanciunas of the Wizards. Maybe a bigger wish, some fans are going to be really happy to hear this, is Miles Turner, who will be an unrestricted free agent. The Warriors do not want to trade Kuminga. They do not want to trade Wiggins. Probably sounds easier said than done. I do wonder if they're going to dangle Schroeder's contract, but right now the Warriors seem much more interested in adding a big to go alongside Draymond Green on this team than another shooting guard. Unquote. Your thoughts, Larry?
Well, I mean, Vucevic would be ideal. I mean,
Yes.
he's playing at a high level. He's got a 2-year deal. You don't want to saddle yourself to some long-term deal. He's playing high-level basketball right now. He's very efficient. He's a very good player. I mean, he's a former All-Star. He's still averaging close to 20 and 10.
Not close to, over those numbers. He's averaging over 20 and over 10 rebounds a game right now, while shooting over, I believe, 45% from deep. He's putting up insane numbers.
I mean,
Sorry.
that's what I'm saying. He's got great numbers, and he he's a former All-Star, so he knows how to play. He's the perfect piece to put next to Draymond Green, because then he can play with Draymond Green, and that's now you've got you're stretching the floor. You've got a more balanced situation. You got a guy who knows what to do. I mean, to me, that's not all they need. I think they need more than just Vucevic. I do think they're a little broken. I think I would try to, like I mentioned before, I like Josh Giddey. I would try to get Josh Giddey. If I could move, some combination of, players to get me Giddey, I would do that, as long as I don't have to move Kuminga. Because I think I would look for, there's probably 3 or 4 underrated players that are going to get traded at the trade deadline in the NBA, and just find which one it is and get him. I mean, there's going to be a bunch of guys move. Now, I saw today that they're probably not in on Zion Williamson. Is that true?
I heard that too, and I don't like hearing that either, because you got to be a little open-minded here in terms of what's available for you. He's available for so cheap. I wouldn't just shut that down, but you're right. I've heard that as well, and that seems to be the case, that they're not interested in Jimmy Butler or Zion Williamson at this point.
Well, maybe that's just what you say to make sure that you're getting the deal that you want to get.
Possible.
I mean, at this, and where did that come from? Dunleavy, the guy who told us that, Jordan Poole was going to be with the team for 4 more years.
Exactly.
Exactly.
They'll bullshit you all day, every day. Pat Riley just said a week ago, we're not going to trade Jimmy Butler. And like 2 days later, he's on the block.
Right. Yeah. So, but Zion to me makes sense. Did he have 32 and 9 in his return?
I didn't see the box score yet, but tonight was his first game back, and I saw a highlight early on. The Pelicans lost that game 104-97. The box, I have it open now. Zion Williamson in his first game back in 2 months that he's missed, 28 minutes played, 22 points, 6 rebounds, on 9 of 15 shooting. So he's back. I wouldn't hate it. I get the concerns, but people have to remember it's a very low risk move, because you'd have to what you're trading away, you would have to include Wiggins for the salaries to match, right? But Wiggins
badly needs a change of scenery.
Badly, and Wiggins tonight, for the people that are just insisting that he doesn't get traded away, he played 24 minutes 35 seconds tonight, scores 9 points, grabs 5 boards. Like this team's issues right now start on the offensive side of the ball. 98 points. They're routinely scoring below 100 in an NBA game where offense is exploding. And 9 points. And not to mention, you get out of that contract. He still has 2 years guaranteed after this season. I'm not stuck on him like a lot of people are. By the way, we have some donations here.
Here's the thing. I mean, I was going to say the one name that I think is out there that I've seen out there. Now, I don't know if he's available, but I'll tell you, I think you're looking for the kind of player that if he came to town and played the kind of ball that you want him to play, that he could be somebody who really puts people in the seats.
Who's that? Who's
it's
that?
fun to watch. The guy, if you really want to get Steph off the ball and kind of usher in the next whatever of Warrior ball, to me, it's make a big play for LaMelo.
Ooh, interesting. Do you think the Hornets would trade him though? I mean, I feel like he's kind of like the face of their franchise.
That's the guy that I've seen been rumored in the last week is that he might be available. LaMelo.
How sad is it that the Warriors could have had him in the first place? I mean, all of this.
But I mean,
this is where, again, Larry, at least on Twitter, which does not represent reality for the Twitter junkies out there. Like, try doing something on Twitter and then go out to the real world and see if anybody even noticed. Like, it's such a grossly overstated platform when it comes to influence. With that said, there's a lot of people on Twitter today bitching about Joe Lacob because ESPN published the story where Stephen Curry is essentially coming out saying that the 2 timeline thing didn't work, that he wants help. I mean, he was taking shots at Joe in this article. And the reason why I'm not as on board with other people when it comes to the Joe Lacob criticism, I get it. Like, look, this is frustrating. What we're watching right now is not cool. Stephen Curry desperately needs help. But, in the chat, like someone brings up, like Bobby Mira in the chat, for example, asks, why do people keep blaming Kerr? This team has 0 shooters outside of Steph. Delusional to think the Warriors coaching is the reason NBA players can't hit basic shots. You're right, except for the fact that Steve Kerr is this team's GM now. Every move that's made is based on who he will and will not play. Bob Myers had the most notable attribution a couple years ago, soon before he decided to step down, which was, what is the point of me getting a big if I have a coach who's not going to play him? And he was gone soon after that. That's why the finger is being pointed towards Kerr, is because he's become the GM of this team. You could point your finger at Lacob for allowing that influence to get as out of control as it is right now. But the Dennis Schroeder, that's all him. Brandon Pajemski, that's all him. Like, this is the fact that the Warriors are the shortest team in the NBA. That's by design because of Kerr. That is not a Mike Dunleavy Jr. A schematic there. That is all Steve Kerr. And that's why, Bobby, in case you're wondering, why did people point the finger at Kerr? It's because this is his team. He's taken over in terms of influence. 2020, like the 2 timeline thing would have been fine, Larry, if LaMelo Ball was drafted or if they just trade up one spot. Minnesota was desperate to trade that pick and get back their first rounder the next season, which resulted in Jonathan Kuminga. They wanted to swap picks, and then the Warriors could have had Anthony Edwards. Nobody's talking about 2 timelines right now if it was anyone besides James Wiseman, at least when it comes to LaMelo or Anthony Edwards. So, but Larry, a lot of people are still pissed off at Joe Lacob. Like, what's your take on that, man? Like, do you think it's warranted? Is it just, frustration bubbling over? Like, what do you think about the amount of vitriol right now that's being directed towards the Warriors owner?
Well, I mean, it depends what they're saying. I'm not. What are they saying?
Him. He's got an ego. That he's taking credit for the team's success. Everything you're saying, everything you said is what they're.
I mean, a
echoing.
lot of it's true. I mean, come on. You could have had any GM in the world. You took Jerry West because you had no credibility, and then he made good decisions, and you guys won. You were part of it, but you weren't the guy. And then you brought your children into the mix. They have no previous experience, no chops at all for it. And even if they're smart people, it doesn't matter. I mean, it's like the people who get it, who became executives. I mean, they still have Larry Harris, so it's not like they don't have basketball people. And they've made some good decisions. I don't want to crap on the Warriors altogether. They had a good draft last year with what they got, where they took Trace Jackson Davis.
Well, that part of it. Did you still think the Pajemski pick was as good as? Because in year 2,
he's an NBA player. I mean, you can trade him. There'll be teams that will trade for him. Watch. But what I just think they just need to keep making moves. I mean, they're not there. They're not there, and they need to have, like, a guy like LaMelo would give them an entertaining element, the focal point on the ball. It would allow Steph to play off the ball because he's a big personality, big-bodied guy. You know what I mean? He's an all-star type guy, and he's a bigger player, even though he's skinny. But he also takes these ridiculous heat check, half-court threes like Steph does, which would be entertaining, you know.
Yeah.
And then, but also he would allow Steph to play off the ball. A lot of the stuff though, like where Steph likes move around off screens and this and that, and the fact that Steph had 0 assists tonight, it's like, are you going to the hole? Or are you just, kind of clearing yourself for open threes? Is he still going to the hole? Is he still trying to find teammates cutting? Is there, it seems like if for an offense that's supposed to be about body movement, ball movement, and is anybody cutting and to the bucket? And if they are, is he just not finding them? And he had no assists tonight in 33 minutes. That's
it is an interesting stat. Again,
assists.
what I saw tonight with the 0 assists is just Stephen Curry basically saying, F all you guys, man. Like, none of you are doing a damn thing. I got to do this on my own. That's what I saw. And it's not like he was inefficient. I mean,
that's not a good place to be.
No, it's not a good place to be. And this is where, again, when we look at that list that Mark Spears presented, Nikola Vucevic, Walker Kessler, John Collins. Side note, Collins, no one talks about him. I think he'd be a great fit for the Warriors, but I digress.
I do too. And then
he's
a big-bodied guy. I mean,
he is.
The only thing is he makes so much money that you'd have to trade Wiggins for sure. I mean, not that.
Yes.
I mean, I have no problem moving Wiggins because I think he needs a change.
But not for him. I agree. I totally know you're 100% with
not straight up for Collins.
But here's the thing, and Jonas Valanciunas of the Wizards, Miles Turner, the only 2 names there, though, that I think if you're going to make a deal, I don't know if the answer is a big stiff who can't shoot from beyond the arc. Like Jonas Valanciunas, is Kerr going to play him? And even if he plays, he's not going to do anything offensively, right? This team has serious offensive issues. That's why if you're looking at these bigs, to me, it's either Vucevic, Miles Turner, or bust. It's not even worth it. I mean, because if you make a move for any of those other guys, you might make the playoffs. Like maybe. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that, man? Because to me, if you're not getting a 3 who can space the floor like Miles Turner and Nikola Vucevic can do, it's going to be more of the same. Your offense, which is the biggest issue right now, is not getting that much better. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, I just look at every one of these every little cycle, the trade deadline, the off season. It's just another opportunity for kind of a reshuffle. And every time the talent around the league reshuffles, there's a chance if you make the right decisions that you can jump ahead. So if I were the Warriors, I think they're as I said, I think their roster's kind of played out. And I'd be very open to making moves. Now, who's out there? That's interesting. I think there's more than a couple guys that can shoot the ball who could help. I mean, I think Kyle Kuzma could help them quite a bit.
Agreed.
That's a player that could help them.
He wants out of Washington, man. Huge surprise.
I think Bruce Brown could probably help them a little bit. He's out there. If another guy, if you didn't like Schroeder, but you like the idea of Steph, playing off the ball, and you couldn't make that other trade, well, what about Colin Sexton? He's gettable from Utah.
I take him over Schroeder. I think he would have been a better choice than Dennis Schroeder. I mean, this team needs scoring. This team is having problems.
They speculated here, Sion, Colin Sexton to the Warriors. Would you make this trade for Dennis Schroeder, Brandon Pajemski, and Guy Santos?
Yes, easily. Like I wouldn't even hesitate. I wouldn't even blink. Tell me where to sign. By the way, Larry, we got some donations here. I apologize to these folks, but especially Curtis Aldretti. Look at this dollar amount, dude. $49.99. 1 penny shy of 50. You're not selling anything here, Curtis. You can throw that extra penny in there if you want to. But the point is, dude, Steve Kerr, just to say that Steve Kerr is getting out-coached every night. You're right. I agree. I wholeheartedly agree. Larry, your thoughts on Curtis Aldretti dropping $50? Thank you. I don't know to which one of our shows he did that to, but who cares? That's incredible. Very altruistic of you, sir. Your thoughts, Larry, on a fan being this frustrated?
Well, I mean, first of all, Curtis, next time I would appreciate kind of like maybe a $50 TJ Maxx gift card. Something where I could go get something nice for myself or the missus.
TJ Maxx. I haven't been in a TJ Maxx in like 20 years. I didn't even know the place was still in existence.
Marshall's gift card, so I could get some nice goods, some nice duds. No, thank you, Curtis Aldretti, for being very.
Oh my God, bro! Thank you. Yeah, thank you. And then a couple
Would it
other
really hurt
chats
you to
here.
throw that last penny in, by the way, Curtis?
Say that again. I'm sorry.
I was just speaking directly to Curtis. Would it really have killed you to throw that last penny in?
I know, but that's what I'm saying that too. I'm like, you're not selling anything here. There's no psychological warfare from a marketing perspective.
Are we? Are you trying to say? What are you trying to say? I'm not worth 50? You saying? What are you trying to say? You trying to get? You're
devaluing your own chat comment by doing that. Like, your $49.99 is not as sexy as of round 50. Like, we're not taking you as seriously, Curtis. Next time, throw that one more penny in there. So,
I mean, just drop. Who's the president on the 50? Is it Grant?
I think it's Grant. Yeah, Ulysses S. Grant. Correct.
Throw a couple Grants down next time.
Yeah,
don't
please.
Don't $49.99.
Curtis, thank you. Carson Taylor dropping $4.99.
Another penny. Another.
I know. And talk about just you can't follow
Something's
the Curtis
going on
already.
Here with this. I need to know more about this donation system.
Carson Taylor dropping, saying the Warriors' defense is and he's right. I mean, at least I've been focusing primarily on the offense. The defense is also playing awful. They collapse soon as the ball moves inside. It leaves the perimeter wide open, and that leads to excellent ball movement. You're absolutely right. The defense is struggling. The offense is struggling. Larry, I saw something tonight. We talked about the Warriors' shooting woes, where the team as a whole shot just 28% from deep. And when you take out Stephen Curry's shooting, they only shot 18.2% from deep, which is literally the definition of abysmal. But I bring that up because one wrinkle that the Miami Heat threw at the Warriors, and it should not have been a surprise, dude. Miami does this. Eric Spoelstra is known for this. The zone defense is not something it's not like the 46 in football or like switching up and going 3-4 with your linemen and linebackers. A zone defense is something every basketball player has seen since they were 5 years old playing CYO. Yet despite the fact that it's commonplace, the strategy to beat it is simple. It's the opposite of what Carson just said here for the $4.99, where if you attack the middle, here's zone defense 101. Attack the middle. If they collapse, kick it out to a wide open shooter. If they don't collapse, you have the easiest bucket imaginable. That's how you attack the zone. Yet the Warriors look like they got stumped, that they couldn't score a damn thing. Did you see that as well? Because that was ridiculous to me. That the zone is like the kryptonite for the Warriors offense. What was your reaction to that, if any?
Well, I mean, it's one of those things. If you look really bad when you're having a bad shooting night and somebody zones you up and just dares you to shoot it, and that's what happened.
That is really exactly. That's exactly what happened, dude. It's and Onima King in the chat is asking us, Larry, like, can we start a petition so that some serious change is made? In this instance, Onima wants Steve Kerr gone. I'll say this before and I'll say it again. I've said this before. I'm sorry, and I'll say it again. Bitching about it on Twitter. Maybe programs like these, there is some effect here from programs like these, but the best way, if you want Joe Lacob to actually hear the noise, the noise needs to come from the fans themselves at Chase Center. That's where Joe Lacob hears everything. He's sitting courtside. He can hear all the fans. If you want to make some serious change, and this is going to the fans at the arena, start booing. Start yelling, fire Steve. That is how you have some serious change coming. Tonight, that arena was quiet, man. That sounded like an opera, except there was no singer. It was just balls dribbling and Miami Heat shots going into a net. What's your reaction to that, dude?
It's funny that you said that because I noticed that as well. I mean, I watched the Heat play Sacramento on television the night before, and that place was raucous. The Golden One was rocking, man.
Yes.
And this one tonight, it felt like the people almost couldn't. They felt further away almost than from the court. I mean, it just didn't. They didn't have the same impact on the game. You could feel it. Sacramento had kind of a vibe going. By the way, there was a rumor today of a Sacramento Heat trade Jimmy Butler for DeRozan, Herder, and Devin Carter. Do you see that?
I feel like Jimmy Butler is being rumored to go to every single team out there. I didn't see that one specifically, but would that make a big difference to you with the Kings?
I think it would make the Kings better. But it would also I could see volatile things happening, with Jimmy Butler, because he's just a volatile guy. I don't think he's going to want to be in Sacramento.
Interesting thing I heard, by the way, behind the scenes, and I've actually have not brought this up before. I don't know if it's newsworthy or not, but I had a source tell me that part of the reason why Jimmy Butler was requesting or was naming the Golden State Warriors as one of the teams that he wants to get traded to, and why the Warriors have been linked to him, at least until recently, is Mike Dunleavy Jr. and Butler apparently have a close relationship stemming back to the days when Butler and Dunleavy both played for the Bulls. So there is validity to that. In case you were ever wondered, in terms of their relationship, they are close. Jimmy Butler apparently likes Mike, and that is at least part of the reason why those two were linked up, the Warriors and Jimmy Butler. But I don't know if that's going to happen. And recent reports indicate that the Warriors are not interested in Jimmy Butler. BRR in the chat, dropping $1.99, not $2, but $1.99, saying that Wiggins' lack of aggression is killing me. Larry, I saw that too, man. There are like all of that force that we saw early in the season, the Andrew Wiggins that reminded us of the 2022 version. I haven't seen that lately. Have you, dude? Like, it's disappointing.
Well, another guy who, a penny short, from $2, it's starting to really bug me. I can't get beyond it. And I'm just going to have to call tonight at night. Sorry. I just can't get beyond that lack of a penny. I just feel that all the people who donate tonight don't have common sense, or maybe just enough sense.
Whether they're like one penny, one tier.
They're not tier 1 donators since they can't come up with that extra penny. Nothing says I'm not going well. Like, here's $1.99.
Yep.
$2 would be like, hey man, here's a deuce. The $1.99 it's I don't know.
And going back to $4.99, Carson Taylor.
It's another guy
is saying he told y'all before that Colin Sexton is the answer. Trade Moody, Looney, Schroeder, and a 2025 first for Colin Sexton and Walker Kessler. I like that. Would you do that?
I don't know if that's doable, but that's the thing. I think this is kind of an exciting time. I know Warrior fans are kind of bummed, and it's the end of the era and this and that. But look at it this way: there's a lot of potential here. There's a lot of. The Warriors, if the Warriors should absolutely be on the verge of a major shakeup. They should. And a major shakeup would be very entertaining. They're not like one piece away, but they have like 3 or 4 guys that need a change of scenery.
Yeah.
And I think Wiggins is one of them, man.
And again, Steve Kerr doesn't want to move him. There's this pie chart, Larry. There's a meme. And side note, by the way, I know you and I are kidding around. In all seriousness, thank you to everyone donating. Like, it does mean the world. We're saying all that in jest. There's a meme, Larry, which is making the rounds.
This guy's got 1 extra R and 1 less penny. Look at that.
Right.
This guy. Now, if this guy could just sell. Remember that game where I buy a vowel? If this guy could sell a consonant for 1 penny,
just make it an even 50.
We'd have 50.
Oh, dude,
we'd have 50.
Check out this meme though.
All the little things that have to be thought about during this live stream. This is what really matters.
I want to share this meme just so everyone. The fact that people are making these tells me that everything we're saying on this program is resonating with the public. Let me take off that comment so we can see this. So for the podcast audience, I'll articulate this. It's a Warriors logo, and they're just messaging with a clockwise arrows pointing around, referencing the Warriors cycle. The season starts every year, and the Warriors typically get off to a hot start. They're usually like a 3 seed. In this case, this year they started 12-3. Then they have a bad stretch from November to January. You're starting to see some ringing of truth here. Then the Warriors talk about making a big move, and those talks escalate. Then the Warriors have a good stretch before the All-Star game, just like last year. They were 4-1 before the trade deadline, and Steve Kerr convinced the front office, don't make any trades, we got a good team. Then Steve Kerr says, quote, we like this team and believe we can make a big run. And then very small trades are made. A couple of years ago, the Warriors traded Wiseman for GP2. I don't know if they even made a deal last year. Then the Warriors are eliminated from the playoffs. Usually it's been the play-in tournament. And then the fan base expects big summer moves that never really happen. And then the cycle starts all over. What do you think, Larry? Do you like it?
Well, this year it was like, we're going for Markkanen. And then all of a sudden, no, we didn't get Markkanen. All right, let's go to Hawaii. Also, yeah. Let's go to Hawaii. Let's go to Hawaii. Time for camp. And then all of a sudden, it's like slow-mo, sitting in a lounge chair in wicker furniture in Hawaii saying, hey, you know what? I'm looking forward to things. And I'm sitting there going, what? This team's going to win 35 games. And then they're like, nah, that's too negative. All right, I'll go with 38. And so I went with 38. I told Murph on KMBR's morning show, he's like, we're really excited. It's opening night. Krug, what do you think? How many wins for the Warriors this year? And he's all super enthusiastic, And I'm like, 38. He's like,
you just shit all over that parade.
Okay. He's like, I'm like,
man.
Steph's old, Draymond's old, I just don't see it. I think it's going to be a rough year.
Well, you're looking good now, Larry. 38 might even. I'm very curious. I'm going to look this up and try to find it before the show ends. But I'm curious to know what the Warriors over/under is right now, because I think at the start of the season it was 43.5, and that seemed, or maybe it was 44.5. It seemed low, right? It seemed a little surprising given the Warriors won 46 last season. Boy, do these bookies know what they're talking about, man. So if you listen to Larry and bet the under, congratulations.
Well, we'll see. That's the other thing. They can make a big trade. It's a very volatile deal. So I didn't bet it. I just said bet it. I mean, I would go with the under. But it's a volatile deal. Like if they make to me, if you could make a trade, if you're Golden State, go get somebody who's hugely entertaining. Like a Zion or LaMelo makes a lot of sense to me, because now you've got some entertainment value. Could you imagine LaMelo playing up-tempo ball and throwing, finding Steph for threes? I mean, it would be incredible.
It sucks. It's a huge what if. The Wiseman pick I think will haunt this organization for a long time.
Supposedly he's going to be shopped. I don't know. I'm reading that LaMelo's on the market.
Well, Onima King in the chat, listen to you, Larry. Maybe he. Forgive me for not getting that right.
It looks like
if I got it wrong, but drop $2. Put the extra penny in there.
Look at that.
It's a nice round number.
Who has an extra penny?
Saying no trade available can make the Warriors better, so why lose Kuminga or Wiggins? Look, Kuminga, I'm not going to entertain pretty much any trade, because I don't know what you can get back for him that would make sense, right? Like, there's just no
trade Kuminga. Gosh.
But the Wiggins part of it, Larry, I don't mind it for numerous reasons. Tonight being the perfect example,
Wiggins.
9 points, listless, but he's also got 2 years remaining on his contract after this season. To get that off your books and suddenly have the ability to sign, let's say, Miles Turner, who's going to be a free agent after this season, I like that idea. Like I would want that extra space, the freedom to be able to sign a player like that. That's why I wouldn't hate it if Wiggins got traded, for a lot of reasons, chief among that.
He also makes a lot of money, so most likely you would get a couple players coming back. And I kind of think that if you made the right kind of trade, it could really help the team.
Larry, I would love to know your answer for this. Spectrum thoughts. Look, people are now like adding that extra penny. We're getting these nice round numbers. Spectrum thoughts saying, and Larry, I'd love to get your answer to this. Asking, at this point, does Draymond Green care about winning anymore, or is the media career a bigger focus for him? I will personally give Draymond the benefit of the doubt. I do think he cares about winning. Your thoughts, Larry?
He's getting old. Did you see him? He tripped over his own feet tonight.
I saw that. That was a bad look. That was a bad look.
He tripped over his own feet and went down.
I know. Old people fall.
That was bad.
That
was bad. I think he cares about winning. It's just,
I do too.
It's just one of those things. It's like anybody who plays this grueling 82-game NBA schedule, there's just it's a schedule that demands that you pace yourself. And that's what he's doing.
You're
he's
right.
Pacing himself.
Onima King dropping another 2 ducats, saying just swap Steve Kerr for Mike Brown. I will sign up for that happily. Would you, Larry? Would Mike Brown make you happy?
I'm not anti-Steve Kerr. I mean, I wouldn't mind adding Mike Brown.
Okay, but you don't want to replace Kerr?
No, I'm not. I don't think they should replace Kerr, but I wouldn't mind having Mike Brown back on the bench. I think he's a good coach. He's a great guy. Things didn't work out in Sacramento, but he's a really good basketball coach.
Yeah, I want Kerr gone, but I respect the folks out there who still have sentimentality but Steve, I don't see anything that Kerr does that impresses, and splash hand _1 dropping $2.99, although there's an A in front of that, so it tells me maybe that's Aussie currency. I don't know, but writing that the split action offense is cooked, it's done. What's your reaction to that, Larry? Is Steve?
What is the Australian exchange rate? I need to know.
That's a good question. I'll try to find out while you
very important.
Express your thoughts on.
He simply thinks the split action offense is done.
That defenses have figured it out. That Steve Kerr's offensive schematics are no longer have the ingenuity that used to catch other teams off guard like it once did. I'm going to guess that's.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's more about the quickness to get to the spaces and that kind of thing. I mean, Kuminga looks really good without him out there. He was creating a lot for himself. That's the thing. I mean, he could create on his own. Seems like everybody else kind of needs help, and that's where without him out there, just everything, their entire offense looks like they almost look like they were pressing tonight.
Big time.
And it was a weird look for a pro basketball team to be pressing offensively. But that's how much Kuminga means to their offense.
Yeah, big time. Well, it also shows this team is small. This team has a lot of age on it. A lot of there's a lack of athleticism with a lot of the players. Even when Brandon Pajemski comes back, he's not exactly like a model of an NBA athlete, right? I mean, he's got the skills, he's got the size, but he's not out there like a high flying flashy type athlete. This team is. They need some players. And just to add to that, Larry, and I don't know if you agree with me on this or not, but a system is great, but you have to have talent. I mean, Greg Popovich runs a fantastic system in San Antonio, but we've seen for how many years before Victor Wembanyama was drafted how worthless that is if you don't have players, man. And Carson Taylor just kind of cementing my point here, saying that Steve Kerr is like Bill Belichick without Tom Brady. And it's a great point. Bill Belichick, without Tom, looked average. Nobody wants him anymore. And I know age and a lot of other factors have something to do with it, but the point is, the Patriots were not good when Tom Brady left. Buccaneers won a Super Bowl. Talent is the priority. That was always Jerry West's philosophy, too, and I do agree strongly with that. He's always been, get the talent, figure everything else after that. Your reaction to that, Larry, as we start to wrap things up tonight?
Well, I mean, it's just, we're seeing all these narratives, and it's really nothing more than the Warriors' best players are gotten old.
Yeah,
and some of and their younger players have kind of been tiptoeing around Steph for so long. As far they don't know, they don't have that freedom, and so everybody kind of looks very uncomfortable in their offense. And now you got a new guy coming in trying to handle the ball. It's not working. Because he doesn't really have the stature as a player to take the ball out of Steph's hands, but the team wants the ball out of Steph's hands. So there's a lot more going on here than meets the eye. You know what I mean? It's not all as it seems. There's a lot of egos involved and cooks in the kitchen, and there's just a lot going on in Warrior Land right now between Joe and Dunleavy and trade talks and budgets and money and visions for the team, Steph's view of it, Steve's view of it. It almost seems like impossible they could get all on the same page, but somebody's going to have to take somebody's vision is going to have to be prioritized. And my guess is that there's a lot of exciting potential moves out there for them to make. But there's probably going to be some hurt feelings along the way, and there's probably going to be some people moving. But to me, the one thing about them, and I've been enjoying this whole era of Warrior basketball, but this group is so played out. They're not, Wiggins needs to go on a different team. I mean, move him. He needs to be moved on. He's the same player all the time. It's like there's games where he scores 8 or 9 points and just kind of drifts. Other games where he scores 28 and he looks awesome. But you just can't count on him. So and he makes so much money that I think it's time. He's a classic change of scenery player. And, the NBA has a bunch of guys like that this year who are guys that they're good players, but they kind of need a change of scenery. And I think they just need to find some match and make a couple deals. I think it would help them dramatically. I really do.
Yeah, I agree. They need to do something, man. Just staying pat is not the answer. Stephen Curry's at the podium right now. I'm gonna if we have time to play sound from him, we will. But otherwise, I'm back with Damon Bruce tomorrow morning. Larry, I feel like you're the hardest working dude in the media game. If we don't play Steph's sound tonight, it'll be tomorrow early on. We'll definitely get to that. But let's go through the scoreboard to wrap it up. Is there any other Warriors topics you feel like we haven't covered? No. I'm curious to know, Larry, before we do the scoreboard and wrap it up, what's your take on Moses Moody, man? Because I dedicated a whole episode yesterday with Sophia Jones where we did some fantastic analysis, especially on Sophia Jones's part, talking about Buddy Hield. She basically pointed out point blank, sorry for the redundancy there, why Buddy's been struggling. And what she's seeing as an analyst is that Buddy in the early part of the season, especially in that 12-3 start, was a catch-and-shoot player, and that's why he was much more efficient shooting the three. And what she's noticing more recently is that Buddy's trying to score off the dribble. He's trying to create offense himself, and that's not his strength. What are your thoughts on that and the fact that Moses Moody in year 4 cannot still get consistent minutes from Steve Kerr? What are your thoughts on all that?
As far as Hield, I definitely think there's something to that. Hield definitely is a catch and shoot 3-point shooter, and he's got to find a way to do what he does. They got to find a way to get him off and let him be comfortable, because you're not going to change at this point. He's been in the league for too long. You're not going to change. So, that's number one. I think they've got to make sure that, that they adapt more to him. That's what I would say, because to me he is who he is, but he's not going to be able to change. And so if it's kind of, you don't have a lot of options there. You got to make sure that you get him going. Yeah. Because people say, well, they have no other shooting. No, they have him. He's a shooter, and he's a good shooter.
When he makes
they've
it.
got to get him more involved. They got to, And
then what about Moody? And just to add some context, Larry, because I don't know if you're aware of this stat, the Warriors, Moses Moody started in 4 of the Warriors' first 8 games. This is how involved he was in the Warriors' system, in their personnel. And they were 4-0 in those games. Now, granted, 3 of those 4 games, Stephen Curry was out. And side note, the Warriors are 5-2 this year without Steph. They're now, I believe, 0-7 without Kuminga. And that says something. But the Moses Moody part of this, again, he starts for the first 8 games. He has that awesome preseason, and then he's out. He's just phased out. Like I was doing the research in terms of game by game breakdowns, and inexplicably, like Gary Payton II started starting games in his place, and then DeAnthony Melton got healthy for a brief moment, and we never saw Moody again. Like I wish we saw this kid play more. I disagree with people who say his defense sucks. I know he has moments where he has lapses, but every player does. He's got a 7'2" wingspan, which helps defensively. I wish he played more, man. I know tonight wasn't a great example of defending him, but At the same time, he only got 15 minutes. It's hard to develop a rhythm and consistency when you're not getting a run. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, they just haven't never been able to get him going. So, I mean, he's going to have to go somewhere else and establish himself, and then they're going to look really bad because when he finds his rhythm, he's going to be a pretty good contributor. He's relatively young. He's going to play a lot of years. So, I mean, right now he's not worth tons in a trade, but he's also kind of stagnating. So he probably does need, he's another guy that needs a change of scenery. I mean, that's really it. I mean, they have a few guys on this team. He's one of them. He needs a change of scenery. Andrew Wiggins needs a change of scenery. Kevon Looney's been on this team for a long time. You could probably move him on, and in a deal for Vucevic. I mean, that would make a lot of sense. I'd like, I'm interested to see where do they come up with $20 million if they can, because I hear the Bulls will take second round picks and expirings.
Correct.
So who do they have?
It kills me that the Warriors are lagging on this.
Could they trade Anderson and Looney and expirings for Vucevic?
Here's the thing. Anderson will not carry value because he has 2 years on his contract after this season. And like you said, the Bulls are looking for expirings. They'll take assets. I hate the fact that the Warriors are not pouncing on this because the longer you wait, you're going to start getting other suitors. You're going to lose leverage. It drives me insane that the Warriors are just kind of sitting here, just like, let's just see what happens the next month. This dude Kerr drives me mad. But with that said, you're absolutely right. You could trade Kevon Looney, expiring contract, Gary Payton II, expiring contract, and Lindy Waters, expiring deal, and maybe I think Guy Santos. There's like a third. It's an easy way to get there, but Kyle Anderson, unfortunately, in terms of his trade value, he has 2 years after this season, and for a team like the Bulls who just want expirings because they want a clean slate after this year, Kyle Anderson's not going to cut it. I don't know. So you could get Vucevic for very cheap. Like, I hope they don't wait on this. And Miles Turner probably will cost you more, but if you can get him, man. I mean, this is a player a lot of people have been like begging for years, and apparently he's now available. Like, I do hope they do something about it. Did you see that report, by the way, about how I'm trying to blank on his name, but he's with the Indiana Pacers. Let me look up the roster real fast. It would be a 3-team deal where it would be the Warriors, the Pacers, and the Brooklyn Nets, because the Indiana Pacers are reportedly interested in trading for Cam Johnson. And so the Warriors would hypothetically be involved as a third team, but who they'd go after, God damn it, it's not Aaron Nesmith, it's what's the player? It's God damn it. I'm so sorry, man. It's Andrew Nebhard. Was that who it was? I think it was who it was. Would you do that? Does Andrew Nebhard excite you at all?
The former Gonzaga guard?
Yeah.
I mean, he's got talent. He's got some talent. He's a little undersized, right?
Yeah.
Don't love him. He's okay.
That's
Nothing
another
great.
player that has been linked to the Warriors again. There was like one report from Brett Siegel of clutch points. Anyways, all right. So
Mark Spears went on ESPN, and Mark Spears went on ESPN and said the Warriors are the most undersized team in the league, and they really want to add size.
Wait, that's what I just said. Yeah, at the beginning of the show. And by the way, I'm so sorry. Thank you for the chat for correcting me. It was Aaron Nesmith would be that third player. What are your thoughts on potentially Aaron?
Well, I mean, he was an incredible shooter at Colorado. I mean, incredible. Like, one of the best shooters in the country for sure. Really, really smooth outside shot at Colorado. We haven't necessarily seen that quite in the NBA. But yeah, he's a young player who can shoot the ball.
So that's a player that was linked to the Warriors. Thank you to the audience for correcting me on that. All right, let's go through the scoreboard, and we are done for the night. Around the association, besides the Warriors getting their asses kicked, 114-98, the Boston Celtics defeated the Denver Nuggets in Denver, 118-106. Jason Tatum, 29 points, 6 assists. Russell Westbrook, who's been starting for the Nuggets, 26 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists in the loss. Boston improves to 27-10. Denver drops to 20-15. And Larry, stop me at any point if you have any reaction to any of these. The Atlanta Hawks. Did you see this game, by the way, Larry?
No.
Or see the highlight or the result of the Hawks and the Jazz? Do you know what I'm talking about here?
No, I saw Markkanen had 35 though.
So he did. But Trae Young hit a mid-court shot as time expired to win the game for the Hawks. It was literally, the Jazz tied the game. There was 2 seconds left. Inbound play, and Trae just heaved it at half court and went in for the win. Exciting thriller. I'm sure if you watch your highlights, it'll be near the top. So the Hawks improved to 19-18. The Jazz dropped to 9-26. The Minnesota Timberwolves defeated the New Orleans Pelicans tonight, and Zion Williams' first game back. Anthony Edwards, 32 points, 9 rebounds in the win. DeJounte Murray, who's back from injury. I guess he's been back for a couple weeks now. 29 points, 6 assists, 6 steals. Again, in a game where Zion came back and dropped, I believe, 22? What are your thoughts on the T-Wolves, by the way? I mean, they're not doing well themselves. They're 19-17, just barely above the Warriors. Clear losers of the Karl Anthony Town trade, but they win tonight.
Well, I mean, it's just, there's some good players there. I don't know if they fit together. They all got kind of thrown together. You've got Edwards, who's a star, DiVincenzo, who's a role player. You got Rudy Gobert, Jaden McDaniels. I've always been a Julius Randle fan, but I don't know how well he fits there.
No, does
Naz
not.
Reid, Naz Reid, every time I look up, Naz Reid is playing well. He had 13 and 12 tonight. Nickel Alexander Walker's a good shooter as well. I kind of like him. They've got some guys on their bench that I kind of like. I really like Leonard Miller quite a bit. He didn't play at all tonight. But yeah, Julius Randle is interesting. Are they going to move Julius Randle? Because that would be a guy that I'd like to have on my team.
My guess is they would like to. I don't know if they're going to find anyone who would give anything up for him, but that has not been a good fit. And R. Jonesy in the chat, by the way, adding that Jokic was not playing for the Nuggets tonight. I don't know why. And also that Colin Sexton is the one who tied the game for the Jazz before Trae Young broke some hearts up there in Utah. Colin Sexton has been a name dropped a few times on the show tonight. And 3 more games, and we are done. The Lakers, another team that's been struggling lately, they got their asses kicked in Dallas tonight, 118-97. Quentin Grimes, 23 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists in the win for the Mavs, who improved to 21-16. The Lakers dropped to 20-16. LeBron James, 18 points, 10 rebounds, 8 assists in the loss for LA. Don't be surprised if the Lakers make a trade here soon. 2 more games. The Rockets, 135-112 winners over the Washington Wizards. They improved to 24-12. The Wizards dropped to 6-28. Amen Thompson, 20 points, 15 rebounds, 3 steals in the win for the Rockets. Corey Kispert, 23 points in the loss for the Wizards. And last but not least, if there's a team out there who's reeling harder than the Warriors, it's the Phoenix Suns. They lost in Charlotte tonight. LaMelo Ball, who you're clamoring for, Larry, 32 points, 10 rebounds, 7 assists. Devin Booker, 39 points, 6 rebounds, 10 assists in the loss. The Hornets improved to 8-27. The Suns dropping to 16-19. Larry, the Phoenix Suns, what's going on there, man? That's a bad team.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what's going on. I mean, KD had 26 in this one, but I mean, the rest of that lineup, I mean, Ryan Dunn, Mason Plumlee, and Tyus Jones. Yeah, those are your starters to go with Booker and Durant.
It's bad.
That's
it's almost as
good.
bad as
they're shopping Nurkic. They obviously hate him.
And Mark Spears, by the way, mentioned that Nurkic would not be a target for the Warriors in a trade, largely because of the Draymond Green relationship. They do not like each other. So interesting to note. He did bring that up in today's show.
Yeah, because that would make sense for Nurkic to be a Warrior, actually.
It would.
Charlotte, we're talking about Steph. I mean, Steph, the Warriors are never going to move Steph. But, man, Charlotte is a team with LaMelo, Miles Bridges. They've got some players that I wouldn't mind having on my team.
What about Jenny Vega dropping the Devin Booker ball? I would love. I mean, look, the price tag would be so ridiculously high. He's a Sun. I would love him, though. I would love him. He can play. but I don't think he's available. Any final thoughts, Larry? I know we went longer than we talked about, but usually we do so because the content is that good, and we don't want to deprive the people.
No, that's it. That's it, man. I'll be in Santa Clara tomorrow morning for Niners presser. Check me out tomorrow. Other than that, have a great night.
You too, Brett. And thank you to everyone. Onima King dropping $2 final here to bring up Walker Kessler. We talked about him. We dropped his name. He wouldn't be bad. I wouldn't hate him. I just wish if the Warriors are going to get a big, it's someone who can space the floor, can shoot three. Stephen Curry's never had that. He's had centers in his life. It's rare, but he had Andrew Bogut. He had JaVale McGee. David West in today's game would be a center, but he's never had a stretch big like a Nikola Vucevic or like a Miles Turner. I think there would be some hope there. I think if they made a move like that. I just hope they do something, man. This is some stale, boring, irrelevant, disinteresting stuff we're watching right now. They got to make a move. I agree with Unpopular Truth. It is panic time. But Larry, what time are you going to San Francisco? To Santa Clara tomorrow? That's a
The
is that an
morning
early.
wake
up in the.
I'm gonna get up at 7 and go. So
Jesus Christ!
I
Oh my God! People,
G
just
Code
let-
Travels vlog. Put that one up there too. He says thoughts on Verlander to the Giants. Here's the thing. It's a 1-year deal for $15 million. He's coming off a disappointing year. It wasn't that long ago. He was an all-star. He's a future Hall of Famer. I like it a lot. Why? Because bottom line is you've got some really young pitchers. Mason Black, Carson Wisenhunt is on the verge, the lefty. You've got Kyle Harrison and the baby face kid who's the righty. What's his name? And you just got a lot of young pitchers, and they all really need some guidance. And a guy like Verlander, slotting him behind Logan Webb will make sense. I don't know if he's going to be awesome, but you don't want to get involved in a big money commitment to a starting pitcher. I'd rather go Verlander and let him tutor some of the younger arms that you have, and then maybe go spend money on like a hitter, like a polar bear or something like that. Pete Alonso. So we'll see. But I like the move overall for the Giants.
Kate Upton to San Francisco, huh?
Yeah, there you go, Kate Upton.
Got a Sports Illustrated cover model, now part of the Bay Area scene. I'm curious to see how that looks. Larry, always a pleasure, brother. We do this normally on Tuesdays. We try to find the best night possible for a post-game show. Always a pleasure, brother. In case people are not familiar, Larry Krueger is one of the best dudes on the planet. Clearly, I don't think I need to say this, one of the most hardest working. I can't believe you're getting up at 7 a.m. tomorrow to go to Santa Clara. God damn, man. One more time, everyone who's paying your bills, Larry, before we go, take it away.
Pig in a pickle, thanks to them. Thanks to Sharp Corner Sports Cards and Collectibles, and thanks to Mancini's.
Beautiful. And thanks to you, the audience. Thanks to you for the donations. Jesus Christ. I mean, when you're dropping this kind of money, like as Curtis Aldretti, $49.99, just to let people know that Steve Kerr's getting out-coached every night. Thank you. It means the world, and I agree with you as well.
He dropped another.
All right, Larry, love you, brother. You're one of the best
Unbelievable.
individuals on the planet, man. You are good people. Folks need to be aware of that. Thank you to the audience. Thank you to Larry, and we'll be back at this soon tomorrow morning. What are you on next? You're going to be in Santa Clara. Do you broadcast from there, or do you have to go back to the studios afterwards and work?
It'll be afterwards.
All right, sounds good. So people will catch you, I'm guessing, tomorrow afternoon. Again, 11 a.m. tomorrow with Damon Bruce. That's where the next Golden Days will happen. Folks, thank you. It's a bummer that the Warriors are where they're at. Let's hope that trade happens soon. Otherwise, thanks again, everybody. A bummer.